Hey everybody. You can see one of my little girls back there. Hopefully y'all can see Zoe there. She's all comfortable and stuff, I think. Hey Unseen. Hey Blissful. Looks like we got about 4 people in here. I know at least Unseen and Blissful are currently chatting right now. So I don't know how many of you guys and gals saw the video I just put up a little while ago. This was not a live stream. This was basically a pre-recorded video. The first pre-recorded video and upload to YouTube I've done in quite some time. So I was trying to figure out the ins and outs of doing that on StreamYard. And I kind of messed up a little bit and made it live when I didn't mean to, but I deleted that part. So if you go to just my videos, you should be able to find that. And what that is I started instituting the promo for the upcoming watch-alongs I'm going to be having for the next weekend or the upcoming weekend. And so you can check that out. I talk a little bit about the 2 movies I'm going to be doing a watch-along for. And so in case you're not familiar with either of the 2 movies that I'm going to be covering on Saturday and Sunday, August 12th and 13th, then you can feel free to check out that little video, about a 20-25 minute video of me blathering on about the 2 movies. Hey, Brian. Yes, Blissful. She is. She's pretty cozy right now, and you can't see Darcy, but Darcy's right over here. She's just out of the camera frame. So I love it because Brian is always giving me and Blissful flowers, and he has the arm muscle for Unseen. So that's always so nice that we get these me and Blissful get these little roses, I guess because we're ladies. So anyway, I don't really have anything to cover during the Daily Grindhouse tonight or this evening. But I will go through, and rest assured, I'm probably going to keep doing these promos for the upcoming watch alongs for the end of the week. But I do always like to give people reminders for people that are in the actual live stream. So, August 12th, Terror on Tour. August 13th, Almost Famous. August 19th, The Original Pet Cemetery. August 20th, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. August 26th, Carrie. August 27th, Mystic Pizza. Still planning on getting that Mystic Pizza of my very own from the local Whole Foods here in Louisville. September 2nd, Phantasm. September 3rd, Stand By Me. September 9th, Body Bags. September 10th, Private School. September 16th, Children of the Corn. September 17th, The Breakfast Club. September 23rd, Cujo. September 24th, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. September 30th, look out, guys, because it's going to be the original 1978 exploitation classic, I Spit on Your Grave. October 1st, Dead and Buried. October 7th, Hell Night. October 8th, you guys better watch out as well, because that's going to be Fatal Attraction. October 14th, House by the Cemetery. October 15th, Flashback starring Dennis Hopper and Kiefer Sutherland. October 21st, Dressed to Kill. October 22nd, Howard the Duck. October 28th, the original John Carpenter directed 1978 classic Halloween. October 29th, Halloween H2O. November 4th, The Rocky Horror Picture Show. November 5th, Forrest Gump. November 11th, the original Maniac starring Joe Spinell. November 12th, Blues Brothers. November 18th, Home Sweet Home. November 19th, Home for the Holidays. November 25th, Misery. November 26th, the Beatle-themed I Want to Hold Your Hand. December 2nd, Psycho. December 3rd, bring your tissues, guys and gals. It's going to be Mask, starring Eric Stoltz and Cher. December 9th, Silver Bullet. December 10th, It's a Wonderful Life. December 16th, Silent Night, Deadly Night. December 17th, A Christmas Story. December 23rd, there will be only one watch along that weekend rather, and that will be for Saturday, December 23rd, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. December 30th, Bloody New Year. December 31st, Terror Train. And I think I'm going to stop it right there. So you guys don't have to sit through very many more of these. I see Brian gave me a little suggestion here. Brian says you should write out the list of upcoming streams into a text file, then just paste it into each stream description just to save you time. That's a good idea, Brian, and I will certainly be putting that in my wheelhouse. Okay. Plus, I'm running out of breath here, so I don't think you guys have to hear every single one of them every time, but I gave the bulk of them, or at least the ones for until the end of the year. Okay. Well, thank you, Blue. So you say I love the movies you've chosen. Well, I hope there's something for everyone. That is my hope. Now, Movie Junkie John did leave me a message that he says, love Salem's Lot. I'll have to check out the next one live for part 2. So I'm hoping that he's in here tonight for the watch along. And let's see, let me switch back real quick here. Brian, you say, yeah, it's a hell of a list. Lots of good stuff. Hard to remember it all without a written reference. Exactly. And I want to work that into, as well as doing these little promotional things at the beginning of the week to help people know what the watch alongs are going to be for that coming Saturday and Sunday, just so they can decide if they want to tune in or not. Because everybody's not going to like all the same movies at the same time. So there may be some of them you're like, nah, or I might watch that one later, or I'm not going to jump in live on that one because it's not one of my favorite movies. Which, yeah, I totally get that. But yeah, it is. I'm glad you're saying it's a lot of good stuff. I'm glad people are interested in a lot of the things that are upcoming. All right. So, just a little rundown of what I'm planning for the coming week. So, Monday will be, of course, another episode of Camp Cronenberg. And actually, what I'm going to be covering, hold on just one second here. Um, so, the movies we're going to be covering for this coming week's Camp Cronenberg is going to be Existence, Spider, A History of Violence, and Eastern Promises. So you guys and gals can look forward to that. Tuesday, I'm not sure about Tuesday. I want to do something. I'm just not sure what I want to do it on just yet. So stay tuned for that. Wednesday, TJ and I will be back talking about another group of episodes from Friday the 13th, the series season 2. And then Thursday, at first I said I didn't know what I was going to do Thursday or if I was going to do something. But then I thought, oh, yeah, I'm doing the Seductive Poison Resurgence podcast. So there will be another episode of that upcoming on Thursday. Friday, I'll probably do a early afternoon stream after I get off from work. So you can all look forward to that. And then, of course, Saturday and Sunday will be the watch-alongs. Saturday will be Terror on Tour, and Sunday will be Almost Famous. I can't even talk tonight. Almost Famous. All right. So, yeah, I wasn't able to, just a reminder, I wasn't able to find a for free copy of Salem's Lot other than one that's in Spanish. Again, that's on YouTube. If you want to use that one and you're not going to be playing any of the audio or you speak Spanish and can understand it, then, have at it with that one. Otherwise, you might have to buy and or rent. Rent would probably be, it's going to be the cheaper version if that's the way you want to go. I am using my Blu-ray that I got a few years back that Warner Brothers put out. They this one came out on Blu-ray and Cat's Eye came out on Blu-ray at about the same time. I got both of them. Had them put a copy of Salem's Lot and a copy of Cat's Eye back for me, and then I went and picked them up at Barnes and Noble. So, and by the way, I also have it queued up on the Blu-ray, an hour and 30 minutes and 1 second in. It's showing the hole, the grave hole, and Mike's getting ready to fill in the hole. So, if you guys and gals want to get queued up to that spot, we will get started here in a couple of minutes. Yeah, Blissful. I think of that song and a lot of others. She said, when I think of Almost Famous, I always think of Tiny Dancer. Yeah, that scene where they're all on the bus singing along. That's right, Coco. Lay me down in sheets of linen. Love me some Elton John. So, also, let me go ahead and star these couple of things up here. If anybody wants to join me live on the stream, you don't have to decide right now. You got a whole hour and 30 minutes or an hour and 30 minutes, something like that. If you decide later and you can't find the link in the chat, just let me know and I'll be glad to re-add it. Um, and if somebody comes in here later and wants to join, they can do that. Also, if anybody needs a timestamp at any point in time, I'll be happy to give you one, as well as I'm sure some of the other people that are actually watching the movie tonight will be glad to give you a timestamp. So uh, we'll start in about, let's just start about 7:20. That'll give people about 3 minutes to get in here. Hopefully, I won't lose a bunch of people at that point in time. And you can do. We'll get started about 7:20 in about 3 minutes. And if anybody has any questions or concerns or anything about, where do I get queued up, I'll be glad to let you know where I'm queued up at. Um, and then, like I said, we'll get started. Hey, TJ. Coco says, join us. Yeah, that's exactly right. I need to hook up my mixer again and start doing that join us. And I can sound like they do on Evil Dead. Um, I haven't had my mixer out in a while. And I was having a lot of fun with that thing there for a while. And then I keep forgetting about it now. I need to like get my old button gear faster. So we got 10 in here. Sometimes it pays off to wait a little bit to get started because, everybody, doesn't always get started at the, the same time, including myself. Um, but oh, Coco, you may have not seen me mess around with the mixer. I know some people have. I can make myself sound like Donald Duck, and I can, do the join us. I can lower the pitch of my voice and stuff like that. It's just fun. I can make myself sound like a man or whatever, where are we in the movie? Let's see. I am on my Blu-ray. I'm an hour, 30 minutes, and 1 second in. It's showing the hole, and Mike's getting ready to fill in the hole um, for um, for Danny Glick. They just had Danny Glick's funeral. So we'll get started here in about another minute or so. And of course, it's another work day tomorrow as well. I'm sure many of us, if not all of us, are going to be chugging along at work tomorrow. That's right, unseen. I could say, you could say, hi, I'm Ken. That might be kind of creepy. And believe it or not, guys and gals, I was thinking, I'm just throwing this out here, kind of see what you guys and gals think. But I'm the Evil Dead chick, and I don't think I've ever done a watch along for any of the Evil Dead movies. So just to let you know, that's more than likely going to be upcoming. So if you guys have any, suggestions about that or comments or complaints or anything like that, just let me know. Blissful, you say, can I time unseen now? You don't want to time him out, do you? You got the little laughing emoji. I don't think you do. All right. So if everybody's ready to get started, I think we're going to do the countdown here and go ahead and get started with this movie. And then if anybody comes in a little later, we'll get them up to speed. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Press play. So Mike's kind of, it's going to get really windy here at this spot. And remember, when I said last night, when it gets windy, real windy in these areas, then something bad's usually going to happen. So Mike is starting to fill in fill in the hole. The wind's getting up. And seen you say she'll pretend it's an accident, Dana. Take her wrench, please. Y'all are so funny. So Jason Burke is kind of, Ben's telling him about, Susan's went to Boston for a job interview, and he says, I hope she gets it. Jason Burke is like, do you? That's what I'm wondering. Does he really want her to get that job or not? So that's a hellacious win there because it's, blowing things over. And he thinks it's I guess, his co-worker, Royal. Royal just sounds like a kind of odd name to me. I'm just amazed again at how good this looks on the Blu-ray because this was a television miniseries, and things that were pretty much made for television don't always look this good. This one looks good. Dark Knight the Scarecrow looks really good on Blu-ray as well. Okay, so Mike is beginning to feel the effects of something here. It's almost like he's becoming hypnotized. And somebody talked last night about this being a creepy shot here, and it certainly is. This whole scene here from this point on is very creepy. It's almost like something's beckoning to him or calling to him or something. All right, guys and gals, I know I hate to take my hat off. Like I said, I love that hat, but so then he jumps down into the grave and he's on top of the casket. And you're like, what? Especially when you're watching this for the first time, you're like, what in the hell is he doing? So this is really creepy too. So he opens up the casket and Danny Glick is laying there with his eyes open pretty much. And then you get this scene. It's like, these are some creepy ass vampires in this. So Ben's now talking to Susan and, trying to find out when she's coming back home. And he tells her he's having dinner tonight with Jason Berg. TJ, you say they need to fix that population sign. Coco, you say, I saw Dark Knight and Scarecrow as a little kid, and I remember Death by Corn scene style scared the hell out of me. That scene still bothers me. I think mainly because of how claustrophobic I am. Just the thought of being smothered by corn and there's not a damn thing you can do. That is very frightening. Joe Bob showed that quite recently on the last drive-in, so I was watching it again, and that scene gets me every time. So now we're back to Mark, and we see that, even more, he's really into monsters and stuff. So he's painting one of his models. And, his parents are, talking about him. And, uh, his mother is it's not doing a very good job. I mean, maybe she doesn't care if her son hears her. Um, and his father is saying he keeps his feelings in hand, but his mother is just terribly upset. She just doesn't think he's handling things right. Coco, you say you haven't watched in probably 40 years. So not only is Mark into like the classic monsters and stuff, he's also into magic as well. And he's like a lot of kids. He just wants somebody to be interested in the things that he's interested in. And his dad actually comes in there and starts talking to him, and he wants to show his dad the handcuff trick, that he can get out of these handcuffs without the keys. And you can tell it thrills him that his dad is actually taking an interest in something that he's interested in. And then his dad asks the proverbial question, sometimes I wonder why you're so interested in monsters and magic. And he says, why do you think that is? And Mark says, I always have been. I can't explain it. It's the way I am. And I think that's the way a lot of kids are. I couldn't always explain things to my parents. So Mark says, you're interested in numbers, so you became an accountant. And he's like, yeah, but Mark, you can't really make a living with this stuff. Um, that's a good point, TJ. You said this kid might be the earliest Randy from Scream type of character. So the cops are trying to figure out more about Straker and Barlow, about where they came from, what's the history on them, and all that stuff. But nobody's has yet seen Barlow. So, of course, Ben is under suspicion too. So they got information on him. He's a left winger, of course. That would be a big deal now too. Probably more so now. If somebody was referred to as a left winger, they would be more known as a troublemaker than even back then. TJ, you say, I bet that dad and son talk was a reference to people telling King he couldn't make a living with horror writing. Yeah, another very good point, TJ. Coco, you say, I'm going to do another dinner, and Dana, I reckon I need to cook, so I'll just have you going in the background along with my dog snoring, kind of relaxing. All right, Coco. You better get you some dinner. Oh, so Mike showed up again. We haven't seen him since Danny Glick, bit his neck. Okay. So he's showing up at the restaurant where Ben and Jason are. And, they think, Jason thinks he's on drugs at first. And he's like, no, I just feel sick. I feel sick. So he said he fell asleep on Harmony Hill, the cemetery, and didn't wake up until morning. So he was wanting a drink. So they're going to get him a drink. They're going to get him some whiskey. TJ used to have more points than a family reunion of porcupine. I was like, I'm not trying to make light of diabetes or anything, but literally, Mike acts about like I do with a low blood sugar right at this point. So he's talking about, like, I guess he thinks he had a dream about letting someone in. So Jason, this is going to turn out to be a bad thing, but um, in the in the very near future, it's going to turn out to be a bad thing. So he's telling Mike, come stay at my house because you're not well and all that. TJ, you said, did they not notice those marks on his neck that he practically pointed to them to see? I know. I think it takes them a little while longer to discover that. So here's another. This is going to soon be another very creepy shot in the film, where Danny is going to show up floating outside of Mark's window. But see, here's where Mark's knowledge of monsters is going to come in really handy. Okay. Um, because the old, stuff about vampires that you have to invite them in. They can't just come in your house. They have to be invited. I guess that's like the vampire code or something like that. So, of course, Danny is outside, floating outside of Mark's window, and he's like, "Open the window, Mark. Oh, open the window, Mark, please, and let me in." He says, "It's okay. I'm your friend." He commands it. Um, and Mark acts like he's going to. And Danny acts like a starving dog or something right here. He's just salivating because he wants to get in there to suck Mark's blood. I mean, he's hungry. And Mark doesn't do it. And then he sees the cross from one of his models there. So, you know, he knows this isn't his friend anymore. His friend has died, and somebody, this is a creature of the night here. Um, yeah, I did hear that, TJ. You said, by the way, y'all hear the actor who played Sean Brody in Jaws 2 died of cancer, Mark Gilpin. That was very sad. I happened to see that the other day, and I was like, damn, because he was still pretty young yet. I think he was in his 50s. 56, yeah. I didn't think he was very old at all. So, yeah, again, as TJ pointed out, those those damn puncture wounds on Mike's neck are very prominent. I think Jason does notice the marks on his neck now, 'cause tells Mike to turn his head, and then he wants to know, "Where'd you get these marks at?" Of course, Mike doesn't know. And Jason tells him, if you need anything in the middle of the night, just call for me. And, even if it's a dream or a nightmare that you have. That's right, TJ. A scene for the ladies, LOL. But so you say any teen with marks on his neck without bragging about a hickey should be observed. That's right. So Jason's obviously having a very bad dream right now. So Ben's got a late night or early morning telephone call. So Eva's, letting him know he's got a phone call and says it's Jason Burke. And it's only, it's 4 a.m. So, or a little after 4. So we're soon going to find out that Jason wants a crucifix. And so he's asking Eva if she has a rosary or a crucifix, and she said, "Yeah, in my bedroom." He said, "Well, Mr. Burke's asking for it. And she said, why on earth would he have it? I don't even think he goes to church. But of course, Ben doesn't have one because Ben, you heard that line. He said, hell no, I'm a Baptist, so he's not going to have a crucifix. TJ says she should go back to bed. Blissful, you said a scene for the ladies for me, a guy doing dishes. LOL. Me too, Blissful. Me too. Of which Steve will not do dishes. He won't do dishes in the sink. He'll throw stuff in the dishwasher or turn the dishwasher on, but he will not hand wash dishes. So there's blood on the blanket. And we're going to find out that Mike's not doing so hot right now. I believe the marks on the neck are gone. So, guys and gals, I'm going to step away for just a second and grab me an ice cream cone because I just keep yawning again. But I will be right back. Y'all continue to enjoy this movie. So we can see people are starting to come into Stryker and Barlow, or Barlow and Stryker's antique shop. So I get the feeling Mark doesn't really trust Stryker, but there was a glance between him and Ben there. And I think he senses in Ben a kindred spirit of sorts. So, guys and gals, is if anybody knows, is SummerSlam going on the entire weekend? Because we don't have as many tonight as we did the first night, so I thought maybe SummerSlam was calling. So you can tell that Stryker doesn't really want to talk to Ben, but Ben kind of keeps poking. You say you have no idea, Blissful. Yeah. I don't know. I would imagine those things go on all weekend, but I like this line. You'll enjoy Mr. Barlow and he'll enjoy you. That is very prophetic, if not for Ben, for several of the other people in town. I'm just going to leave it right there. So Ned just showed up and is beating the shit out of poor Ben there. Hey, Michael, welcome. So they arrested Ned. So Dr. Norton still doesn't believe, that there's anything, you know, ghoulish going on in Salem Blood. Michael, you say I remember watching Salem when I was about 11 years old. Yeah, a lot of people watch this movie really, really young, including my husband. So we're getting ready to come up on one of my favorite scenes of the movie, as well as one of the most creepy scenes, in my opinion. And keep in mind that before Mike supposedly died, Jason invited him to stay at his house, okay? Well, at least he's smart. He's taking the crucifix with him. And you've loved horror movies since then, Michael? Yeah. Sometimes all it takes is one great introduction to a great movie. So here it is. This scene, I'm telling you, in my opinion, I think this has got to be one of the maybe one of the scariest scenes ever in a horror movie. And not one that I really see shows or anything mentioning. Because watch this here. Check that out. I mean, check that shit out. And this is a TV, made for TV movie. I love these fangs on these vampires too. But he don't like that cross. So he's telling him, get out. I revoke my invitation. And then he says, you will sleep like the dead, teacher. Just some very creepy lines. And that shot there, I'm just noticing it is very reminiscent of Halloween. Um, when Dr. Loomis shoots Michael Myers, and then Dr. Loomis looks out the window a little while after he shot Michael, and he's fell out the window and he's gone. Right, TJ. Very limited amount of blood too, and it's still creepy. And so poor Jason is, evidently having a heart attack here. Exactly, DJ. You said, by the way, who knew you could just revoke your vampire invite? More horror movies should try that. I think probably the closest thing to that when when in Nightmare on Elm Street, Nancy tells Freddie, you're shit, you're nothing. I take back every bit of energy I gave you. Oh, and there's the first appearance of Barlow here. And it's an amazing one too. So now we're back to the Glick home, and Mr. Glick's looking for his wife, and she's passed out. And so she says she's been dreaming about their son. He says, "Mommy, mommy," and he says he's my baby. And we got a funny feeling at this point that it's not a dream. That evidently Danny's been coming back and drinking his mommy's blood a little bit. I don't know, Blissful. Can revoking your invite work on family members? TJ, you say creepy ass Reggie Nowder as the creepy ass Barlow. Exactly. So Susan's telling Ben that Ned Tebbets died last night of pernicious anemia. And Marjorie, Danny's mother, died. Um, and then Jason Burke, they find out, or Susan tells Ben that Jason's had a heart attack. Of course, we knew that from a couple of scenes ago. TJ says, no, Bliss. Well, that's like the grudge curse. It's forever. LOL. And Whistle says, TJ, that's disappointing. So Ben's telling Susan, you got to go back to Boston because there's some kind of plague going on. I mean, he doesn't really want to tell her it's vampires, because he kind of tried that with her dad and, he wasn't biting, right? So now Ben's visiting Jason. So now they're going to talk to Father Callahan, and he says, you know, that the concept of evil is, underwent some radical changes in the church. So I think Susan believes Ben. So they're trying to get the priest on board. And now Ben's talking to Susan's father again. So he's telling Susan to get some hawthorn, put it all over the house, and the crucifixes from Father Callahan. And he tells her they're breeding on one another. The vampires are creating vampires. So Ned Tebbett's body's disappeared from the morgue, but Marjorie Glick's body's at the funeral parlor. So Ben and Dr. Norton are going to go and kind of like babysit the body to see if anything happens. So there's a scene going to come up here where Barlow makes an appearance, and this is a great scene too upcoming. So the priest is saying, Mark, are you sure it wasn't a dream that you had? And Mark's like, no, I know it was Danny Glick. Okay. So keep in mind that the lights are starting to flicker. And now it just busted. This is this is just an amazing scene and another very creepy scene as well. Because you're going to get to see a lot of Barlow here. And some Straker as well. And Barlow doesn't really talk. He just like that, Straker does a lot of the talking. Yeah, DJ says, not my China. I love this, the way Barlow just kind of, I don't know, he oozes up off the floor there. Yeah, Straker saying, back priest, back holy man, back shaman. And he wants to know, what would you give for this miserable boy? That's a great shot with Barlow with his hand around Mark's throat. I believe it does too, TJ, that the scene goes a little differently in the novel. And Mark vows that he's going to kill Barlow. So Straker says, throw away the cross, face the master, faith against faith. So meanwhile, I'm back at the funeral parlor. So Dr. Norton has to admit that Marjorie Glick's appearance after death is very similar to Mike Ryerson's. That, they're not getting rigor mortis or anything like that. This, as many people have remarked, is a very creepy scene as well when Marjorie starts to rise from the dead, so to speak. And I guess it doesn't really matter what kind of cross that you have, what it's made out of, as long as you bless it, I guess. Of course, I don't know much about the Catholic religion. I mean, TJ might know more than he probably does know a lot more than I do. TJ, you say this scene has been done a few times. The Fog has a similar scene. Yes, it does. But way before this one, there's a just as if not slightly creepier scene in Blackula. I need to watch Blackula all the way through, TJ. So basically, Ben's reciting the Lord's Prayer right here. And Marjorie is starting to move and he's getting nervous, so he's hollering for Dr. Norton. I mean, these are simple vampires, but man, do they work. Yeah, this is another very creepy vampire moment. And these actually look like vampires that need some dental work done. I like this too because the cross shape is actually burned into her. She's gonna, yeah, disappear. So Ben has a friend who's into the occult, and so his friend says they have to get to Barlow during the day, and of course, like tradition usually says in regards to vampires, they got to put a stake through his heart. And then they say Straker's like the watchdog. He's the thing's bodyguard. He prepares the way. They can kill him anyway, a gun, a knife, whatever. Exactly, TJ. You say, like in Fright Night Dangerouses to Peter Vincent, you have to have faith for that to work. TJ, you also say you can have a cross blessed in the church. As far as a horror movie lore, You have to have faith or the cross don't do jack. Hey, Wes, you say, hey, boss, love Salem's Lot. Wonder why it's never been given a special edition release. I don't know, Wes. That's a good question. I would love to see it get one. I never heard about using the hawthorn though. I've heard about garlic and stuff like that. Yeah, I believe so, TJ. I don't know if I've listened to it all, but it does have a feature length audio commentary with Toby Hooper. So he's telling Susan again, you're going to have to leave town. And Ben says, your father's going to stay with me, and help me out. Um, Now he tells her tomorrow before sunset, you and your mother leave town and take anybody else with you that will go. That scene is similar to me in It when the little girl gets killed by Pennywise. Only you see blood running in the wheels of her tricycle. Darcy. You guys can probably hear Darcy growling. I don't know what she's growling at. So he finds the deputy, and the deputy is saying, I'm a little tired, didn't sleep much last night. I was dreaming. He said, I dreamed about Ned coming to see me, and that's it. Ben's getting the hell out of Dodge because, he knows what that means. Hey, Undead of Night. Timestamp is I'm 2 hours, 24 minutes, and 49 seconds in Undead of Night. So I believe this is the Petrie's house here that Susan is, not really breaking and entering, but she's going into. It's either that or maybe it's Eva's boarding house. Yeah, yeah, that is a weird turn door buzzer thing. No, I guess this is Eva Miller's because Eva's not feeling too well either. So you can obviously tell that the vampire thing is beginning to take over. This plague that Ben was talking about is taking hold of the town very quickly. So everybody's basically saying they dreamed last night. Um, she says she had sweet, sweet dreams. and Weasel, because she was in love with Weasel when they were younger. And she said she saw Weasel, he was young. It was just like old times. And he was kissing her on the neck. And Susan's telling her, maybe you better go lay down. Well, on Dead of Night, the good thing about this is that you can always go back and watch these on the replay. I realize sometimes people, are disappointed because they didn't make it here at the beginning for the live, for the chat and all that stuff. But at least you can go back and rewatch this on the replay if you did miss any of it. I think poor John, something must have come up because I think he was planning on being in here tonight. I think he's probably going to have to watch it all on the replay. I think he watched the first part like that. So I'm not really sure why Susan goes to the Marston house unless she's looking for Ben. This is kind of stupid because this gets her in a little bit of trouble here. Because she was getting ready to get in her car and go away, and then she notices some leaves rustling. Remember, we ain't seen Mark for a while, and damn, there he is. And he's got him some steaks, so he's planning to go vampire hunting. And then Susan gets all nervous, and so she's going to follow him. Does anybody know if that will work to get a padlock undone if you didn't have the key? Darcy. Shh. Yeah, I don't know, TJ. That's I don't know if they ever say what exactly happened to her mom. I don't know if she just left her there at the house, at their house, while she goes, looking around for Ben or whatever the hell she's doing. Because she was just at Eva Miller's boarding house. And I know that Eva said, he might be such and such place. And I just don't know why people can't do what somebody asked, but no, she couldn't do it. Exactly, TJ. He said, well, pretty much Mark, the little shit, gets her killed. Yeah, this is one big, huge mistake Mark makes. Oh, cool, Wes. Wes says, if y'all want to make it a night out, make a night out of it, we are having Laura Marie Taylor on later tonight at 10 p.m. Yeah, I definitely want to check that out. I would say I should be done on here before then. DJ says, did you ask her about those lousy brown panties, CK? That house, I swear, it looks horrible. It looks like the inside of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. You got rats running around and everything. Wes says Steve Miner thought brown panties were sexy. I know the panties she had on, the black ones, before she changed out to the brown ones, those looked a lot better. I think she should have stuck with those. Blissful says, I was trying so hard to behave tonight. LOL. I was too, Blissful. I couldn't help myself. Um, TJ says, Minor has questionable taste. Ha ha. So Mark just about staked Susan. Uh, and he's like, what are you doing here? And she says, I followed you in here. And he's like, well, this thing or whatever killed my parents, so now I'm gonna kill him. Exactly. I did see that. I don't know if somebody was doing like taxidermy or something. Um, I don't know where the googly eyes came from. Cause see, look at all these animals there. It's almost like at one time somebody was doing taxidermy in there. I agree, Unseen. Unseen says regarding paintings, black is better than brown. Most any color is better than brown, especially for paintings. Uh-oh. The shit's gonna hit the fan because there's Straker. Coco says, have you heard the one about the vampire that walks into a bar and orders a cup of hot water? I haven't heard that one, Coco. And TJ says, I'm going to sneak a googly eye drawer in the script. You should, TJ. Everybody's got to have a googly eye drawer in their next script. Um, I don't know for sure, Wes. Um, but I don't think he disliked it. The only adaptation of his work, or the only two that I can think of that he actively did not like, and I think he is kind of uh, changed his tune on Kubrick's The Shining. He used to absolutely hate that. that adaptation. But the one he actually sued to have his name taken off of was the Lawnmower Man, which I can't um I can't disagree with him on that because that is an awful movie and basically has nothing to do with Stephen King's story. So Gillespie, the sheriff, he's shucking all of his responsibilities and he's getting his family and he's leaving. But Ben is going to have, one last round with Gillespie here. And he says, "Where are you going?" And Gillespie says, "Well, we're going to visit relatives." And Gillespie says, there's no such thing as vampires. You're crazy. Um, and Gillespie says, I'm leaving. You can stay if you want, but I'm leaving. And he says, "Okay, if you're staying here." So he's going to give him this gun. What's what you say? Why am I picturing camouflage panties? It's disturbing. Coco, you said the bartender gives him a cup of hot water and asks if that's all he wants. Vampire proceeds to pull a used tampon from his pocket, steeps in the hot water, and says, "Yup, that'll be it." So, of course, we remember that Mark said he could get out of any knot, right? So that magic knowledge is going to come into play. Unseen, you say, "I can never see those camouflage panties." I don't know. Some guys might find camouflage panties sexy, to be honest. So Ben's telling Dr. Norton, Gillespie's leaving town, and, you know, okay, so Dr. Norton's saying his wife's still waiting for Susan at home, and Susan hasn't ever showed up. So Ben's getting him some more, he's getting him some holy water here. Well, you probably wouldn't be able to see the shit stained on the panties if they were brown, right, Wes? Again, I'm not trying to be nasty, but I don't want to think about shit stained panties, actually. Yeah, that would be my assumption, TJ, that mom gets turned. Coco says, "Dear Lord, I'm eating over here." I know, Coco. I can't stop the chaos. It's already in motion. So Ben is having another one of his, you know, episodes, and Mark's freaking out. So Ben's telling Mark to run as fast as he can and get out of there. Coco says, "Well, I did just tell a gross joke." That's all right. We all get to be gross. at some points in times. So, Wes, I do have a question for you about Laura Marie Taylor, and forgive me if I didn't catch this the first time around. But is she going to be live with you guys tonight, or is this a pre-recorded thing that you're just putting out? Because I guess in my mind, I was thinking y'all had already done the interview with her, but I don't claim to be right all the time, so I just wanted to ask that. So I'm guessing, based on that beginning shot that we saw last night with the blue bottles and they're getting the holy water in them in Guatemala, that Ben must have a whole bunch of these blue bottles before he even leaves Salem's Lot. So this is a very tense scene too, because look at all those pointed objects back there, right? And Dr. Norton went up there by himself. And why in the hell is Mark back? He's like, I told you to go. And Mark's like, no, I'm not going. This guy killed my parents, so um, I'm going to work with you on this. TJ, you say, I think it was already recorded. I think I heard a snippet from the interview on one of their promos, but you being CK know better than me. Well, you're probably right, TJ. That was my first, assumption, but sometimes I don't perceive things correctly or hear things correctly. Blizzard, you say pastors can make holy water. I learned that from my aunt who is suggesting I go back to church. I'm concerned. Oh, so Straker is actually going to take care of Dr. Norton. Very gruesomely, I might add. That I thought was pretty gruesome for TV. That's right. He ain't no Linnea Quigley. So remember, they said Straker could be killed, because he's not really supernatural. But he doesn't seem to be going down very easily, though. TJ, you say a scene right out of Fright Night, but they were at the top of the stairs shooting. And also, Fright Night was later, so perhaps they copied a little bit from Salem's Lot. DJ says, rip off, LOL. Mark is adult. We're very soon going to see the pretty much the showdown between Mark and Ben and Barlow. We're going to have some creepy scenes upcoming here too. So that they're actually in the cellar, but then there's a root cellar as well. Oh damn! What a klutz! Just drop some of the holy water. I'm so claustrophobic now. There's no way I'd be able to go in a place like that. Is it just me though, or did the door from the outside look a lot smaller than the opening that they just went through? Hey, Millet. Yeah, TJ, good point. You say I'm not a fan of Susan just giving herself over without a fight, especially since her sacrifice doesn't do much for stupid Mark. Coco, you say I feel this info is appropriate since it this is the Salem's Lot show. I made 2 cube steaks for dinner. Damn delish. My iron gets low and I tend to crave. Well, very appropriate, and I hope that that made you feel better too, Coco. Because yeah, I know how it is to have your iron get low. Sorry, guys and gals, I keep yawning. My blood sugar should be okay now. I guess I'm just a little tired. Coco, you say blood and dirt and bloody steak usually grosses me out. This steak isn't bloody though. I hope it does, Dana. I felt like I was going to pass out an hour ago. Oh, yeah, that's not good, Coco. Um, that scene where he just turns his head and wakes up. Damn, Ben. Ben's a little rough with Mark. And that scene too, where he sits up. So this is creepy too because while, Ben is busy trying to stake Barlow, you can see the vampires because the sun has went down now coming up behind Mark there. There's Mike and Ned. Yeah, I agree, TJ. It is great with the swinging light and the crawling vamps in the back. So he's telling Mark to get out. This I think is great too, for especially for the time period. The disintegration of Barlow there. So then they're going to set the house on fire and I guess destroy the Marston house once and for all and destroy the evil in it. And of course, he says, forgive me, Susan. So I guess their plan is to, essentially burn up the whole town and any vampires that are in the town. And then Ben and Mark are going to get the hell out of Dodge. And then this is creepy too because you can hear the vampires screaming as the house is burning. And TJ, you say, so we're supposedly Susan ran off somewhere. We've seen they don't turn right after being bit. Yeah, I mean, obviously she can't be in the house because she would have been destroyed, I would think. I can't remember if there's a scene, like I may have missed it or it might be upcoming, where I think a woman's hand comes crashing through a window in the Marston house as it's burning. So that might be an indicator that that's when she escapes from the house, maybe. So Ben's saying the fire's going to drive them out of their hiding places. And Mark says, all of them? And he says, no. It will purify Salem's lot. And the others will be on the run and on the hunt. So, yeah. And of course, they're going to be looking for Ben and Mark because. So this might be where we see. I was pretty sure there was a scene where. We can see that it's slowly pushing in on the house or a small portion of the house. And there's a woman screaming. There we go. I guess we don't see a hand, but something obviously breaks the glass there. So perhaps that is an indicator that um, at least some of them escaped that way. TJ, you say she dies like halfway through the novel, right? Coco, you say, sorry, Dana, I hope I ain't being rude. No, you're never rude, Coco. Talking about off topic things. I'm listening and planning to see this flick again. No, that is perfectly fine. Coco, you say, I like the show, like not church, but not. So now we're back to Guatemala, and Ben's again saying they found us again. Um, Another one has found us. They're having that whole conversation. Mark thinks they need to go further. Ben says not yet. Um, TJ, you say Mike Flanagan Midnight Mass is a great show that was very inspired by the Salem's Lot book and novel. I'll have to check out that. I've heard about that, but I don't think I've ever watched any of it. Oh, book and movie. Yeah, I got you, TJ. TJ says, watch the show and we'll talk about it online. Yeah, there's another one. If I get my ass in gear and watch it, we could talk about it. So it's Susan. And is it just me, or is Susan, after she's turned, like more voluptuous than she was as a human? I guess she needs to be seductive to men. So she looks normal there. She's saying she loves Ben. That's right, TJ. You said Mark should yell, "Sorry I got you killed, Susan." Yep, TJ is giving out homework. I don't think I'd get too close to her, Ben. She's trying to tempt him here, saying they'll always be young, they'll be together forever. Oh no. No, don't kiss her, Ben. That's a bad idea. She's got some black fingernail polish now. Doesn't says I love you like a good steak to the heart, right? And of course, Ben says, there'll be others. And so they're going to go now. But Ben knew he had to take care of this one thing before they leave. I didn't notice that. I'll have to go back and see that, TJ. You say you can see where the piece holding her vamp teeth are on our. LOL. And that's probably something you can see a little easier on the Blu-ray or a high definition version. So I like the moon, the fade in of the vampire skull and the moon there at the end. And then we're going into the credits. So we have officially reached the end of the two-part Salem's Lot watch along. And I want to thank everybody that was in here. We had varying amounts of people all through this. We're up to 11 right now. I think it was probably about 14 or 15 at the highest. So, again, I want to thank everybody for joining me for this. I consider this kind of an epic watch along because, it was the first time I did like a two-part one. Um, because this thing was over 3 hours long, or a little bit over 3 hours long. TJ, you say MOON, that spells Mark as a douche. That's right, TJ. Um, and the credits have rolled out. But I did want to remind everybody that I'm going to be trying to start doing more like video things. I'm still going to do the lives on a regular basis because I love doing those, and it gives me a chance to interact with you guys and gals and all that. But I'm going to try to start doing some reviews that will be pre-recorded videos and then just uploaded to YouTube. So be on the lookout for those. Heck, I may do one tonight before the Dead Pit interview with Laura Marie Taylor, because I'm definitely wanting to check that out myself, as I'm sure many of you guys and gals are. So um, I can probably stay on here till about 9 if you guys want me to, and that'll give y'all a whole hour before Dead Pit does their interview. Um, so if you want to hang around with me for the next 5 minutes, I would be, grateful to you. If you've got to go, I understand that as well. But I'm going to take this disc out, actually. So I guess I'll ask everybody's opinion that's still in here. How did you like a two-part watch along? Did you think that was too much, or uh, was it okay? Would you like to see me do more two-part watch alongs? I mean, there's other mini series that we could, if we did something like The Stand, we would probably, that was an 8-hour mini series originally. But I would be willing to do it. We'd probably just have to break it up into more than 2 nights. And that would probably be something for next year. I can put it in, a few weeks that I don't have filled in already. Um, but there's others. There's the Shining miniseries. I know a lot of people don't like that one. There's the Langoliers. There's It. I think It was a two-parter, so we could definitely work that one in. So if you guys and gals would like to see more of these multiple part watch alongs for like miniseries, like Stephen King miniseries in particular, I would be glad to do that. I started with Salem's Lot because that seems to be a lot of people's uh, favorite miniseries, like Stephen King related miniseries. Um, there's also Storm of the Century, which was another good one, really good one. Um, and also, here's another thing I want to. You liked breaking it up like that, TJ? Yeah, I thought that wise for some of the longer ones to do that. That way, it just doesn't seem like overkill. Let's you say I enjoyed the concept. I definitely want to watch the next one. Cool. I may do it upcoming because I know that one's a two-parter. I would love to do the stand, but like I said, the stand's going to be a multiple night one for sure. It's going to be more than 2 nights, but I still would like to do it upcoming. But here's another thing that I wanted to try to do, and I've been trying to find some contact information for Scott Spiegel, who is one of Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell and all those guys' childhood friends. Um, I would love to find some contact information from him because I want to get permission before I do this. Um, because as I've said before, I own or I purchased like 3 discs. I think it's 3 discs. There may be more than one disc in each one of these sets. But I don't even think they're available anymore. But there was one guy that had been given permission to put these out, I guess, by both Scott Spiegel and Josh Becker, another one of their childhood friends, who they made a bunch of short films. And Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, Ted, Rob Tappert, all of those different people worked on these in one or more capacities. Sometimes they were in front of the camera, sometimes they were behind the camera, but these were short films. And there were a whole bunch of them. But what I wanted to do was kind of do a watch along for these, maybe do one disc and kind of talk about them. But the thing is, I don't think too many people are going to have these. And I mean, I could look on YouTube and see which ones are available. I think like Attack of the Helping Hand and stuff like that are The Blind Waiter, Toro, 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 stuff like that. I believe that's on YouTube. But some of the lesser known ones, I don't know if you can find them on YouTube. I'll do my research. Um, and so I really want to do kind of like a watch along for a group of those short films so we could all watch these together. But the reason why I was wanting to get permission from like Scott Spiegel and Josh Becker is because they did most of these, and I didn't want to like start streaming them, and get knocked off of YouTube or get a cease and desist type thing later. Even though a lot of these used music from other films at that time, and but the stuff that they actually did was original. I'm just saying there were like different things put in there that were already established in other movies and stuff like that. So um, I may just try to find as many of them as I can on YouTube, and that way I can say, okay, we're going to watch this one next. So here's where you can find it on YouTube, and everybody can watch it on their own, just like we've been doing with these watch-alongs. So that's something that's been kind of rolling around in my head. Coco, you say, I can't wait till you do a movie that I actually own. I have a very small collection, nothing like you guys. I can buy or rent, but I'm struggling. Every penny counts. And I understand that, Coco. And I really, I really wish that I could stream these on here, but I know good and well the majority of them would get the stream frozen, or I'd get one of those nasty cease and desist things later. I could jeopardize my monetization and all that. And I know monetization isn't everything, but I work to get where I am. I'd hate to do something foolish and lose it all at at a moment's notice. And a lot of people tell me, well, don't put it on YouTube. Do it, on something else, some other forum. Um, but, regardless of what forum I use, I want to be legal. I don't want to do things that I really shouldn't be doing. Um, but I know some people, like, maybe it was Steve, somebody was asking, how do these people have these watch parties? Like on YouTube, not YouTube, Facebook and stuff. I don't know if they do much anymore, but people used to do watch parties on Facebook. And Steve was like, how did they do that and not get in trouble copyright wise? Because they were actually watching the movie. It was kind of like streaming it. So, again, I don't know how all that stuff works, and I'm just trying to play it safe. But Coco, you say, I know. Uh, And I do have Pluto and Tubi, so that's cool if the movies are on there. Right, yeah, and I try to give links if I can, Coco. The majority of the time I can, but um, sometimes I run into issues being able to find them for free. But it is now 9:04, and I know we still have 10 people in here, but I guess I'm gonna have to get on out of here. A few things I gotta do before 10 o'clock Eastern time. Uh, I want to catch, like I said, I want to catch that interview, and some of the rest of you might want to as well. So, with all that being said, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night. There might be a video review later. So, keep your eyes peeled for that. And I will see everyone on the flip side. Y'all have a good night now, and I will see you next time.